ain't no way I can give no rookie. Ain't no way I can give no rookie a $250 million extension because breaking the rules of baseball is sacred. They don't want to do that, and he did it, and it's working. But I wouldn't go too crazy about the situation with Fernando Tatis. That just means that that's what a superstar is worth these days.
Sure, and again, if I'm sitting there at Ronald Acuna, and I don't know if he's upset. Like I said, he liked playing with the Braves because Ozzie Albies was there, and some of those guys like that. I go, money sometimes dictates where you like to be, but if you want to get Tatis money, guess what needs to happen in 2021? Go out and Tatis the baseball, right? I mean, go out and get after it. I think the Braves will do that. I also would say the way the deals are structured, if you wanted $18-19 million a year for Acuna, okay, fine, you could do that. Take Marcell Ozuna off the team. That's basically your trade-off with some of that stuff. So I think we want to feel upset for Ronald Acuna right off the bat, and I don't know that there's a reason to be in the aftermath of this, other than it's obviously a huge deal.
I want to address something though, because we were talking about this in the pre-show meeting, right? And we all get like this because we're all sports fans at heart, right? Like we're professionals because we talk about it on the radio. We're all just sports fans, right? And so we all do the thing where an argument works one way, but then when we need to change our facts, we change the fact when we're trying to argue something else. Kevin's trying to defend the Braves, saying that the Braves didn't force Ronald Acuna. And so we asked Kevin, because he brought up the fact, I just watched 6 guys come on MLB Network and they did their top 10 players in Major League Baseball right now, and none of them had Ronald Acuna, right? You put that out there, right?
Unless I forgot that. Yeah, I put in the show meeting.
And then, so we asked you, Kevin, we said, is Ronald Acuna a top 10 player? And you hit us with, I don't know, maybe. No, he's a top 10 player, and Major League Baseball knows he's a top 10 player. MajorLeagueBaseball.com is currently doing their top 100 players for 2021, right? Tonight, they're revealing the top 10. Ronald Acuna hasn't been named yet. Okay. I'm assuming he's not out of the top 100. So by that assumption, reducing my fractions, he's a top 100 baseball player according to MajorLeagueBaseball.com. So, I mean, we just take our arguments different places. We were talking about this on Second Down. I think you got to show some good faith, renegotiate it a little bit, give him some more cash. Maybe you're not giving $340 million because that's absurd. We've talked about that with the Padres. That's just absurd. Leveraging your franchise.
Yeah, like the Padres will be in financial trouble within 5 years. No, there's no question about it. There needs
to be maybe you take some of that money that's backloaded.
If they don't win, I will say this: if they don't win a World Series in the next 4 to 5 years, Fernando Tatis will be playing on a loser franchise for quite some time after that. Because
I just want to hear you say it, Kevin. Is Ronald Acuna a top 10 player in Major League Baseball? Yes or no?
I would say he's 10 or 11.
I'm just saying
is he a top 10 position player?
Now who's changing the argument to suit their facts?
Asking.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's fine. I don't think because somebody else got something else, that means you screwed the guy that didn't get that. Like, again, that was a year and a half ago.
Multiple things can be true, and that's what Cody and I were talking about. Multiple things can be true.
Yeah, but a year and a half ago, you can't predict that somebody's going to give a dude a 14-year contract.
But to BJ's point, as soon as Ronald Acuna signed that, everyone was going, "Oh my God, he just got fleeced by the Braves."
Right, i.e., he should have not signed it and waited. He didn't. Yeah. I mean, that's again, you're early on. The Braves were doing him a good faith thing and saying, "Hey, look, we don't have to give you anything. We can just let this thing play out and negotiate down the road. We can go to arbitration. We don't even want it. We like you. We don't even want it to get to that." Here's $100 million. It's baseball, so you're going to get every red cent of that, right? I mean, it's
wow.
If you break your leg tomorrow and can't play, you're still getting $100 million, right? I mean, that's how baseball.
It's like Bobby baseball, Bonilla, Rich.
Put it examples. Fernando Tatis has a 14-year deal. The Mets will finish paying off Bobby Bonilla 5 years after that. So I mean,
love it.
That's
I'm here for all the Bobby Bonilla facts.
I mean, that dude came up with the best contract in the history of contracts. We got to step aside. We'll continue this because I know BJ's passionate about it. It's 3 and Out. The Southern Pigskin Radio. Welcome back to 3 and Out here on the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Kevin, BJ, and Ben, glad you are with us here. We're streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Hit us up at Pigskin Radio on Twitter. Again, a lot of folks weighing in on the Fernando Tatis deal. 14 years, $340 million. What does that mean for Ronald Acuna? Most importantly, for the Atlanta Braves and where this Braves team is. Certainly, we saw Mark Melancon sign with the Padres, 1-year deal, $3 million. A lot of folks were wondering why the Braves didn't come to the table for him. Again, I don't know if it's indicative of a Braves problem as much as it is in weird financial situations. It's hard to predict what the next contract's going to be because, as Ben has said, you are worth what someone will give you. Is Fernando Tatis, less than 162 games in his career, worth $340 million? Maybe not right now, but somebody gave it to him. And so I think that's some of the problem when you evaluate and say, boy, Ronald Acuna should be offended. Well, why should he be offended when nobody saw this contract coming? Everybody, if we saw this coming, everybody wouldn't have said, wow, can't believe it, when they saw the signing announced.
True, but I also think that, you can look at other contracts around baseball and kind of get a feel for what dollars and cents are worth in terms of potential player ability. Ronald Acuna, I believe, annual average values at $10 million, but that's backloaded, as you mentioned. I mean, Cole Hamels.
BJ, it's not exactly backloaded. I have it pulled up right here. This year he's making $5 million. Next year it'll go to 15, and then for the rest of the contract, it's 17 after that. So next year is where he really starts making the money. Right,
but in terms of the value, I mean, Drew Smyly is making more than Ronald Acuna. Cole Hamels made $18 million last year, and these were players. Charlie Morton right now, as we talked about a couple weeks ago in comparison to Mike Soroka. It's not like the Fernando Tatis contract was the only contract to theoretically compare Ronald Acuna's money to. And I also have kind of a little bit of a different opinion on he didn't have to sign the 10-year, $100 million deal. I think most people in life, I don't want to say all people. I don't know all people. I don't even know most people. But I would think most people, if their job offered them a raise, would take it. And sometimes I have a hard time, Kevin, theoretically operating in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. So let me put it on my level. Okay.
By the way, BJ, you said 10 ago. It's 8 years, $100 million for.
Okay. My apologies. If you're making 30,000,
2 extra years there.
Sure. If you're making $30,000 a year, and your company comes to you and says, "Hey, we're going to give you $40,000 a year," I think most people would take that because it's a increase substantially in terms of the percentage of the money you get. And all of us have bills, hopes, dreams, whatever. But just because you get a raise does not mean you are getting paid what you are worth. And that's why I kind of struggle with the Ronald Acuna didn't have to sign it thing, because almost every person on earth, if they get offered a contract that takes them, or a raise that takes them from being amongst the lowest paid people at in their field of employment to being more highly paid, they're going to do that, even if that's not a full total reflection of what they're worth. And I think all of us would agree that Ronald Acuna right now is worth more than $5 million, that Ronald Acuna next year is worth more than $7 or $8 million, whatever Christian just said it was. So just because the Braves gave him an early deal and gave him a raise does not mean they gave him a raise to what he is actually worth.
Well, I mean, I know Kevin is saying nobody saw this coming. I believe they did, because this is the thing. When you talk about front offices, their job is to know what other front offices are doing. Not to be in their business, but it's their job. Like if I'm a scout, I know other scouts that do what I do. If I'm a general manager, I know other general managers. So when it comes to these front offices, they know. So I think that's why they gave him the $100 million. They said, look, Tatis is going to get something ridiculous, right? We're not giving Ronald Acuna Jr. that, but we're going to get out front of this thing. Because if I'm out front, yes, I know when you look at the optics of it, yes, 340, it's not 100, I get it. But let me get out front. So, BJ, so this is what Atlanta said. Atlanta said, look, Fernando Tatis, think about it. He's doing 30 for 30s and E60s. They're blowing this dude up for people that don't know who he is, because something big is coming. You know who else that did that for? Remember when nobody knew who Carson Wentz was? Because he's going to get drafted high. So they keep talking about it. So he become a household name by the time he gets drafted number 2. So what happened was Alex Anthopoulos said, we got to give him something. Let's give him $100 million. All right. Boom. Now this comes out. People thinking, dude, the Braves ain't give him. Yeah, we did. Now, if Ronald Acuna Jr. is still under his rookie deal, this looks really bad. But the thing about it is if I'm an organization and I love Ronald Acuna, I still have to look out for what's best for the organization while trying to take care of a generational superstar. So the thing about it is, now, if I'm Ronald Acuna's agent, I don't even got to negotiate. What is the going price for a generational superstar? Trout, Betts, Tatis. Look at these contracts they get. But I also say, if you're Alex Anthopoulos, I am winning the Braves away. Now, I think they're going to have to break the bank for Ronald Acuna Jr. 2 or 3 years from now.
Ben, can I ask you and Kevin and Christian, I mean, all of us like the Braves, a question about the Braves way, and I know it's kind of an uncomfortable question to ask, but I was talking with Kevin about this in the show meeting. The Braves historically, and I think we all understand and respect it, get it, have not spent a lot of money, right? And I mean relatively.
I mean, if you look back at the years they were competing in World Series in the late 90s, they were in the top 7 or 8 of payroll. So they were spending money relative. I think what happened is post-2000 steroid era, the Yankees really started just loading wads of cash, and now you've got 3 or 4 franchises that can really pay whatever they want.
Yeah.
So it's like the Yankees laugh at everybody because they're like, "Oh, you want that? We'll just throw $10 million at it. And
right. But the question I'm getting at is when we see these $200 or $300 million
contracts,
everybody goes, "Oh my God, terrible move! It's going to ruin the organization." Well, I mean, the Braves have been kind of that modestly, fiscally conservative organization.
I don't think that's true.
Well, and for 20 years, they didn't win a playoff series. I mean, it's like at some point in today's baseball, when you look at the teams that have won World Series titles, the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Angels, the Cubs, the Dodgers, do you have to spend money like that?
You literally can't, BJ, like that. You're getting into the point with who owns the team is who's going to make that happen. Like Magic Johnson has brought in a corporation, a conglomerate where it's worth just billions of dollars that they're willing to pump into the Dodgers. That's why they're able to sign the rotation that they have. The Yankees, obviously, with the Steinbrenners, are able to just pour money into it. The Red Sox are the same way. They're playing a different game than 90% of the people.
But dude, are the Padres a major market team?
No, but they're not paying. Just because they signed Tatis to a $340 million extension doesn't mean they're paying the same payroll as the Yankees. They're not.
But they're spending more than the Braves.
The Yankees can do that 3 or 4 times over. They just did it one time, and everybody's calling it a huge risk for them.
They are spending more than the Braves by a little bit right now, but that's also after a decade of being in the bottom 2 or 3
let's talk about
spending for a while.
For a team. Let's talk about recent
but hold on. All right, but hold on. Prior to last year, I don't know the answer to this. Christian or Cody, look it up. Because last year, I think we all agree was a little bit different. Prior to last year, over the previous 20 years, who had won more playoff series, the Braves or the Padres?
Don't know that the Padres.
I don't know. The Padres I think had
one. It's definitely not great.
Yeah, but this is the thing though. This is the thing. Like even with the contract itself. Okay, 14 years, 340. Right. Right now, Ronald Acuna is 8 years, $100 million. Just say 2-3 years from now, he signs.
The last time the Padres won a series, from what I'm seeing immediately here, is 1984.
So the Braves and Padres from 2000 to 2019 both won 0.
No. With this roster, the Braves way, they were 5 outs away from going to the World Series with the way they're doing it. Now, when you think about Ronald Acuna Jr., I'm just saying, right now he's gonna make $100 million. We can only go off what he has. 3 years, 4 years from now, he recoups. Just say it's 10 years, 250. That is still the same amount that they are giving Tatis, but they gotta do it. I'm telling you, every organization does this. This ain't just the Braves. But think about this. Who you think is the highest paid player ever?
Christian, from what I'm saying.
We got to go to a break here, but we get stuck because news breaks and then we go 365 days and news breaks again. When Ronald Acuna signed that deal, it was unheard of for a major league team to sign a guy that early. And what we're seeing from Tatis now has never happened before. And all the reports out there are most teams wouldn't even consider doing that. Like the Yankees wouldn't have paid him that much because they're like, okay, if you turn out to be a star, we'll pay you then. And if you want to leave, fine. Like nobody else is going to be able to pay you as much money as us. This is an aberration. This is something that doesn't happen in Major League Baseball. But I still think, like I said, multiple things can be true. Tatis got an insane deal. Like nobody else in baseball is doing that deal. Ronald Acuna is worth more than he's making can also be true. And we've had multiple callers calling to say this. We keep trying to impose our views on Ronald Acuna. He could be perfectly happy with the money he's making. So multiple things can be true.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm saying, and I know the Padres have spent.
And also the Braves spend plenty of money. They just don't spend as much as the Dodgers.
Right. I mean, the Padres have spent in just the last two off seasons alone, what, $680 million on Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis.
But because they know they're in danger of losing their market to the Dodgers.
Right. Yeah. If they don't win, they're in financial catastrophe because nobody's going to take that contract off their hands, and they'll have Fernando Tatis out there with a bunch of AAA players that make the major league minimum. I mean, that's what it could end up if they don't win and win big. We've got more to come. 3 and Out. We'll talk Braves baseball specifically when we come back. Jake Mastriani, Tomahawk Take joins us next all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Welcome back. It's 3 and Out all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Kevin, BJ, and Ben, glad you were with us here. Braves pitchers and catchers, first full workout for them today down in South Florida. Joining us here from Tomahawk Take, Jake Mastroianni joins us here on the program. Jake, welcome. How are you?
Hey, doing great. Thanks for having me.
And again, good to see the pitchers and catchers back out there. Mike Soroka, are you surprised that Brian Snitker's saying, look, he's way ahead of schedule? I mean, does this sound like something that you say the first day of spring training, or they truly believe he might be ready sooner rather than later?
No, I mean, it's not really surprising if you look at the work ethic of Soroka and how quickly he's been kind of progressing even throughout the offseason. Not really surprised to think that he could be ready, as soon as late April. Saw a quote from him himself saying, he's not trying to push the rehab too hard or overdo it, but he said it's not impossible, or it is kind of likely for him to have a late April, maybe early May return. So not that surprising at all. I think they probably will slow play it a little bit, especially since they have some options in Kyle Wright and Bryce Wilson, and who could step in and fill in for a month or so there if they need to. But definitely some great news to hear he's progressing nicely and could be back pretty soon.
What are the big questions for this team as spring training begins?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
What are the big questions for the Atlanta Braves as spring training begins?
So the biggest questions for me right now are the bench, obviously. If everybody stays healthy, this is a World Series team, a team that could bring home a championship. That I fully believe. But the biggest issue for me is the bench. There's really no depth on this team when Johan Camargo is your best bench option. That's just really not where you want to be, especially, gearing up for a full season now. They're going to need to use that full bench. Obviously, there's no DH now, so those bench hitters become even more important. So the lack of depth on this bench is what scares me the most. A lot of people are concerned about the depth in the bullpen. That doesn't necessarily concern me quite as much as the lack of bats coming off the bench. If somebody goes down in that starting lineup, then the Braves could be in big trouble.
And Jake, I mean, obviously the Braves re-signing Marcell Ozuna was really big. How much does that benefit a guy in Freddie Freeman who is coming off an MVP season?
Yeah, no, it's huge. I certainly expect Freddie to come back and be a leader again and carry this team. He talked last year, that was the first time he'd ever felt that healthy in a long time, and you kind of saw, what that meant to him to finally have that elbow healed up. Of course, obviously having the COVID going into the season isn't what you want, but he's now saying he's feeling, better than ever, which obviously, a lot of people say that in spring training, but I think, he can certainly, duplicate that success that he had last year and carry it over an entire season. I think he and Ronald Cuny will be battling it out for that NL MVP award.
Jake, you look at this team from a bullpen standpoint. Where do you see this shaping up? Obviously, Mark Millen is not coming back. Shane Green is still out there. How do you think Brian Snitker would like to set this bullpen up?
I think he said today, they got 3 guys here there that could be options to close, but he did specifically mention Will Smith, and that's who I think will ultimately be the guy. I know he didn't have a great introduction to Braves fans last year, gave up a lot of home runs, but this is a guy who was an all-star closer in 2019 with the Giants. All the ability and talent is there to get it done, and I think he's going to have a huge bounce-back year. But, you also got Minter, you got Matzik, you got Chris Martin. Those are your top 4 in the bullpen right now that you feel pretty good about going into the year. But I'm expecting a big bounce-back year from Smith. But it would be nice to get another righty arm for that bullpen if they can before the season starts.
What are your expectations for Christian Pache, and do you think he'll be the everyday starter in center field?
Yeah, he has to right now with the way the lineup, the roster is, shaken up. It's either him or Ender Inciarte, and I just don't see Ender getting back out there when you left him off the postseason roster and went with Pache instead. So I think it has to be Pache. I think it definitely will be, especially when you consider Marcell Ozuna is going to be patrolling left field, so Pache can kind of cover up his defensive inabilities there. And I was really impressed with the at-bats that I saw from Pache in the postseason. He wasn't quite as good at some of the games I watched in the Dominican League this winter, but You can't expect much from him offensively. He's going to be batting down in the order, but what he's going to give you defensively is going to be enough, and is going to be much needed in that outfield with those zoom in left.
Do you think Austin Riley is ready to be the everyday third baseman?
Yeah, they certainly seem committed to having Riley there at third base. Whether or not I agree with that, I'm not sure yet. I still, would like to see more from him, obviously, and I think the Braves would as well. I think, certainly the capability is there. We've seen flashes of it. It's just whether or not he can be more consistent at the plate, can cut down on the swings and misses and drive the ball out of the park. I mean, if he gives you a 250 average with 25 to 30 home runs, I mean, I think you'll take that from him at third base, certainly. And he's a pretty good defender over there. Hopefully with Chipper coming on as a part-time hitting coach for the Braves, I think he can do a lot of good for Riley over there at third base, as well as Drew Waters, who could be coming along sometime this year.
Talking with Jake Mastroianni, a Tomahawk Take here on 3 and Out. The position that's been pretty solid for the Braves in years past. Catcher, you've got Travis d'Arnaud. What are the plans behind that? Are we going to see a guy that's coming up to be developed? Is there a free agent guy they're waiting to see fall out of another camp? What do you think the plans for 2021 are there behind the plate?
Right now you got to think, Contreras and Alex Jackson are going to be battling out for that backup job because, there's nobody else right now to do it. Obviously, Tyler Flowers is still out there. I think that's kind of a fallback option if they want to go that route again. I would rather see Contreras get the job. I liked what I saw out of him in a short sample size last year. I think he can definitely handle the backup job behind d'Arnaud. It's just whether or not they would rather Contreras get those everyday at-bats at AAA or not. But right now it's likely going to be between Contreras and Jackson, and that's going to be an important battle to watch because TDA has had his injury problems in the past. So having a good, solid backup catcher there is going to be important for the Braves. If I had to pick right now, I'd probably give Contreras the nod.
Finally, of course, Ronald Acuna signed an 8-year, $100 million deal not long ago, and news breaking that Fernando Tatis Jr. signs for well over $300 million in 14 years. Does that impact potentially the timeline of a new deal for Ronald Acuna at all?
No, I think the Braves just got to be, thanking their lucky stars that they got that deal done before Tatis. Obviously Ronald got the security that he wanted. $100 million is nothing to laugh at, but you certainly, compare the two there, and you would think Ronald's on the same path as Tatis, and Ronald's going to get a chance at another big contract at the end of this. He's still going to be in his early 30s once this current deal ends. But yeah, the Braves just have to be fortunate and have to be thankful every day that they signed that deal with Ronald when they did, because certainly seeing what Tatis got would have to be making Ronald a little bit jealous, but I wouldn't expect that to impact him at all. I expect big things from him this year. And again, I just think the Braves are very fortunate with the deals that they got with both Ronald and Ozzie.
Jake Mastroianni, Tomahawk Take, our guest here on 3 and Out. Jake, really appreciate the time. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Y'all have a great day.
Hey, we'll do. And again, pitchers and catchers back at it today for the first time for the Atlanta Braves down in South Florida, which a lot of people said, hey, pitchers and catchers report yesterday. They actually had a report from what I was reading up a week earlier for quarantine before they got to spring training. So they've actually been in South Florida for quite a little bit here already. We've got more to come. Speaking of baseball, big retirement announcement yesterday. With that next, it's 3 and Out on the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. It is 3 and Out on this Thursday. Kevin, BJ, and Ben. In case you missed it, a lot of baseball news out there, so you may have missed it. A retirement announced yesterday. Long-time Major League professional baseball player Tim Tebow calling it quits, retiring after a pseudo minor league career. Next stop, Cooperstown.
That's uncalled for. Listen, shout out to Tim Tebow. I respect Tim Tebow. He had a dream. What, Ben? Whatever. You can do the face. He had something he was passionate about. He had something that he liked. He wanted to try. I'm sorry, not all of us can be a first-team All-American in everything.
No. You see what you're doing though? Now, once again, if it were me, see, you'd be like, hey, what are you doing? Number one, what are you retiring from? No, man, I mean, no. What are you retiring from?
Minor league baseball.
Listen, okay, Tim Tebow is a celebrity, big time celebrity. So everything he does gets magnified. This is what it is. He went to the Mets, say, is there any chance I'm gonna get called up? They go, hell no. Like not a chance. Love what you do, Tim. This is how you know he wasn't gonna get called up. There's two guys standing next to each other. He asked the guy, and the guy he asked looks at the other guy. Am I gonna get called up? He went,
Ben, I got a better example of how you knew he wasn't going to get called up. Tim Tebow was playing minor league baseball, correct?
yes.
How many SEC Nation appearances did he miss because of those minor league commitments?
A lot. No, a lot. And
I remember seeing him on Saturday morning saying, hey, we're here in Oxford, get ready for football. I mean, come on.
I do agree, BJ. He had a passion for it. But let's not act like Tim Tebow didn't go to the front of the line. It is fine. We can say these things. And I don't like this, man. Tim Tebow, man, I'm telling you, back in high school, no one cares. I don't care what he did in high school. He played football. It didn't work. I don't like the criticism. I'm going to play baseball. Nope. Didn't happen. So, Tim, congrats on retirement, whatever that is. You know,
hey, you don't think if Russell Wilson decided he wanted to play minor league baseball, he would go to the front of the line too? I mean, come on.
I mean, yeah, he's in Yankees camp. To do what? To run the bases.
Yeah, not to play. He's there to take photos and some BP, and that's it. We've got more to come. 3 and Out, take 3. Right around the corner, the spring training edition. We got a new game we're going to play. For those of us that don't think quick on our feet, it could be a disaster. We'll get to that coming up next hour as well. It's 3 and Out all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. We are streaming live, ESPNCoastal.com, also live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube as well. We're coming right back all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. It is 3 and Out, hour 2 on this Thursday. Glad you're with us. We got a brand new game coming up. We'll get to that next segment. Excited about that as well. We'll look at some of the hottest head coaching candidates heading into the 2022 season in college football. Who are some coordinators right now that might be top of the list? We'll get to that coming up a little bit later this hour. But first, it's 4 o'clock. Let's take 3 here on 3 and Out. A spring training edition of 3 and Out, by the way. So take one. When was the last time you worked out? And again, the caveat is not played with the kids, not cut the grass, not changing a tire. According to Christian, like actually exercise for the purpose of being in better shape.
Okay, I have played adult league football and I've played basketball in the backyard, but in terms of doing it to be in better shape, maybe when I was in high school or college, potentially. And,
that's what you're saying.
Oh, yeah, it's been a minute. And it's interesting that that's one of the questions today, because I had a conversation with my doctor and he said something along the lines of, "Hey man, when's the last time you went on a walk?" And I said, to quote Kevin Thomas, "It's been a minute." So maybe this is kind of some serendipity to affirm what I need to do to get my health in a better place. But it's been a long time, and that's embarrassing to say. But I don't know that I appreciate the phraseology of the question, because, Kevin, even though I don't do things like cut the grass or stand in the pocket and throw darts in adult league football to exercise,
the guy that wrote the question works out every day.
But what I'm saying is, when you look back on it retroactively, you can frame it as exercise, so it's still getting done.
I worked out this morning. I worked out yesterday morning. I worked out the one before that. I mean, it just.
All right, I did, Mike. That's ridiculous.
I did. I mean, it ain't. I will say this. I mean, yes, I worked out, and this is the thing. Okay. Just because you work out doesn't mean you're gonna be able to do like a lot of active things. You just get up in the morning. You try not to be late. Working out makes you feel like you accomplished something before you actually go to work. Like, what'd you do today? And before you choking on the French fries. Oh man, I was working out this morning. Did you? Yeah. And pass that ketchup though. You gonna use all that? No, I worked out this morning. The one before that. But it's funny that BJ mentions about his doctor. For those of you who don't know, I'm just saying, if BJ doctor says something, he will at least consider it. Now, if I say it, I'm not doing it. Hey, BJ, not doing it. Then here's what my doctor said I might need to get out there. Well, I just asked you 2 weeks ago. Well, I told you no, but things change. So I'm just saying, BJ cutting the grass, when it's 100-degree heat, I get it. But there's a reason why you play quarterback and judge everybody else's endurance, because we're actually.
Whoa. I don't get picks when I play in the secondary.
How many picks do you remember getting?
No, that's right. Not really from the peanut gallery here in the studio.
No. When you were covering your brother JT and you were covering him, you tackled him saying, "I'm not going to tackle." That was the easiest tackle I ever seen.
You can't get from the secondary if you play all-time quarterback.
Yeah. BJ.
Okay. I'm not in charge of the numerical relevancy of whether we have odd or even number of people out.
No. That's what you. That's what you.
But you are in charge of playing defense.
No.
Right, but what I'm saying is, Kevin, if we have an odd number of people, how am I going to play defense?
No. You will wait. Like you looking at the
by allowing somebody else to call.
No, well, if Cody brings his friend out that's way less athletic than him, then you just give that team more players.
He can't throw.
Well, if Cody brings his friend out, even if it's even, it's still odd, because I don't know what. Like, I'm like, hey, listen, you can't just stand in one spot or just turn around when we go on defense. And whatever the other guy name is, hey Ben, I'm the only person that I serve as like a battery. I'm at like 78%. Like what? So yes, BJ hates odd numbers when it comes to old man football, because he's gonna have to play both ways. So
there you go. It's been a minute if you don't count I've run it when I coach my kids' baseball practice, but that's I run with the team. I don't know if that counts.
And you're running at 10-year-old pace.
Exactly. So that doesn't really count. I mean, it gets my heart going because I'm old.
You could probably walk at the same pace they're running because they have little legs.
No, some of them can run pretty fast. Okay. All right. That being said, take 2. How long, speaking of running, would it take you to run around the bases? That's 90 feet to each base. Or... Anyone?
No, don't answer. I just don't think Kevin knows.
No, I told you this before. It's 360.
There we go.
Or we work this out. Oh, be like 120 yards.
Now, BJ, say what you said in the show meeting. Like, sort of,
Yeah.
how far it was.
In the show meeting, I said it would take me like a minute. I mean, listen.
Marcelo Zuna.
I mean, listen. Look, there are some people on the show who like to exaggerate their athletic ability. I would consider myself to be on the other end. I'm 36 years old. I don't run. My heart rate's not my heart rate doesn't get elevated. I don't do things that require coordination. I take baths. Okay, I don't know. Kevin said a minute would be ridiculous. Kevin said I could probably do it in like 30 or 40 seconds.
Wait. What? Before I even say it, because I mean, mine is still not going to be
run
fast.
the 10-second 40.
No,
right?
hold on, Christian. Hold on. Mine is still not going to be fast. But
It's
what do you
40
mean-
seconds because you have to run 4 pace.
Well, but BJ, what do you mean when you say people exaggerate what
It's
they
120 yards.
Huh?
Yeah.
Hold on.
80, 120.
120 yards. If I sprint it, well, it's not a sprint these days. If I ran as fast as I could, 120 yards, that would probably take probably 25 seconds.
But this isn't in a straight line.
Hold
You got to turn.
on. But before I get to that, why do you say there are people on this show who exaggerate their athletic? You don't do that. You don't exaggerate.
No, I tell the truth. Like when you and I ran a 5K, you made it 27 yards, and I finished.
Whoa! What about when you were shooting free throws, LeBron? What happened out there with that?
You're talking about when we were shooting free throws on rims that were made out of aluminum foil?
Isn't it ironic that when you don't succeed, it's the rim fault? Like we at the fair. No. What I'm saying is, BJ, this is the thing. Mine's probably gonna be a minute because I'm gonna get the first and turn, and you're gonna hear me. That hamstring is gonna go, and I'm going to crawl the rest of the way.
I want to go back to Kevin's math real quick.
I misheard you. I thought you said if you can run 10 seconds, meaning to each base.
No, I said if you can run a 10-second 40, it would take you 30 seconds because it's 120 yards.
Right.
And
I heard base.
Christian, if you can run a 40-yard dash in 10 seconds in a straight line, that has no relevancy to running at a curved, basically a circle. That's not the same thing.
I'm trying to be nice with a 10-second 40. That's a long time to get 40 yards. 10 seconds.
That is.
I once saw Kevin. It took him an hour and 30 minutes to run 40 yards because he ran 38.
No, like a 6-second 36-yard dash.
When I ran it the time after the camp after, and the run for redemption that everybody throws away. Yeah, I was at a time that I thought was for no effort, no working out, no trying. It was all right. It was like 6-7.
It should be no more than a minute. I think it might take a little bit longer for some of y'all.
A minute to run 4 bases? No way.
No, I'm not. No, a minute.
I've heard some of y'all.
No.
We have a problem, and Ben, I'm not necessarily talking about you. Well,
no. Wait. Before you hold on. Christian gonna run it fast. I already got that.
He's eyeballing me when he says that. For some reason.
I'm not looking at you.
No, but case in point, like I don't think most of us realize how unathletic most relatively older people are. Like, for an example, and this is just I'm not being ugly. I'm just keeping it real.
Disrespectful in here.
No, I'm not. Ben, we ran a 5K.
That has nothing to do with
hold on.
athleticism.
All month, you were like, "Yeah, man, it's gonna be straight. I'll run with you." You made it 20 yards, and
Wait. Christian told Kevin something.
That beats the hell out of what Kevin did, which is just stand at the finish
line.
line.
Hold on.
I had a better gig.
Christian told Kevin something that when the show first started. He says him and Cody said something. 2 things can be true at the same time. I said I would run with you. I never said I would finish with you. I said I would run with you.
I'm just saying, I don't think it's that absurd to think it might take a regular person a minute.
What you're saying is words mean things.
Yeah, and this is the thing. I will say this. Okay. I just heard Kevin say something that everybody's spared. Kevin says, what about my redemption 40? All y'all want to talk about is the one when I redeemed myself. Let's focus on that because there is one person on this show that knows all their old man stats. One person on this show knows what they did. One.
You talking about Christian calling his old high school football coach after 8 years to ask what his 40 was?
Yep.
No, that's you knowing how many touchdown passes you threw in old man football, as if to say we keep that stat.
Y'all don't believe I had them wheels. Now, I want to reframe the question for Kevin. How long would it take you to get around the bases if you took BJ Yard?
Oh, all day.
Are you doing a selfie at every single play?
Oh, yeah. I'm walking.
You should, because sports are about emotion. If you don't, that's lame.
But then, Kevin, if you came back up the next time and BJ hit you with a baseball, it would then be justified, right?
No, I'm not throwing a rock at another human
trying to
being.
trap him in his own logic, and you're not letting me.
Oh.
What now?
After you pimped your home run against BJ,
Yeah.
the next time you came up, it would be okay for him to hit you in the head with the baseball.
I would fully expect high inside,
cool,
yeah.
cool, perfect.
If he doesn't come high inside, I would lose a little respect for him.
There you
Just to
go.
confirm, another human being.
Another what?
A person does their job, so you respond by throwing a rock at them.
Bring it. Take 3. Speaking of old guys, as far as spring training, how many innings would you make it as a catcher?
0 innings. I'm not I can't touch my toes. I don't bend over. If something needs to be picked up off the floor, I'm calling my kids. There's no way I'm crouching down for potentially 30 minutes and letting someone throw something at me that goes 100 miles an hour and moves. 0% chance.
Yeah, I'm not gonna make it because Kevin. I mean, I'm going to the baseball expert. Don't they have to warm up first? Like the pitcher has to come out and throw a couple of pitches firfirst, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna make. See, that's all I got. All I got is the warm up.
Just get somebody else to do that for you. Then go.
Well, what? Because this is the thing. Somebody's gonna try to steal a base, right? And then something's gonna be hiding inside. I got to reach. I'm gonna say, look, I'm not moving my glove. If it don't come right here, then that's it. And don't let the ball hit the ground. You got to give it to you got to reach back and show it to the I ain't got time for all that. I mean, I didn't even know knees could pop that loud. I'm standing up. Yeah, that's me. Sorry, man. It's rough out
How
here.
crunchy are y'all's knees now? Like
They
Squatting down. It's the standing up. It's not the squatting down. It's the standing up.
I mean.
probably you're popping. You just pop.
I think I could give it a couple of outs. I can't have Luke Jackson pitching to me though. I gotta have Mike Soroka. Here's the glove. This is where the ball's going. Like I can't be digging out sliders in the dirt. Like that's not gonna happen.
That was another BJ athletic arrogance because Kev was like, "Oh, I catch all the time for my kids at baseball." I was like, "How often are you actually down in a crouch?" And he was like, "Oh, well, sometimes."
Yeah, I would just like to confirm and reiterate for the listener when I mentioned a few moments ago that some people kind of overstate. You just said casually you could catch a couple of outs in a Major League Baseball game.
No, how long could I squat back there playing catcher? That's all about endurance. That's all about the creek.
I put, quote, how many innings would you make it as a catcher?
No. He didn't say, and tell me about the quality of your job. He said, how long would you make it? I didn't have to be Johnny Bench back there.
I think after the first time,
Bad News Bears. I just got to stand back there and do it.
I think after the first time the ball goes to the backstop after the first pitch and you fall over, Brian Snicker's coming out there and saying,
"Okay,
ow."
Well, that's a coaching decision, not a Kevin decision."
I mean, like Kevin. Now,
coach on air. All right.
If it's okay, because I asked Kevin this, this how bad. I said, Kevin, when somebody try to steal, do you have to take your face? Do you have to take like your face mask off? I was like, no, you just throw it. You got to take your face mask off if it's a pop up. I'm not going. I ain't got time getting up, taking that up. No, that's not gonna work. Shout out to all the catchers out there, man, because y'all. Let me tell y'all something. Lord, my knees hurt right now. Just
I got mad respect for guys like Brian McCann who were like 39 years old back there getting it done.
Ow.
I can do it for a little bit, but it's not all.
Right, yeah, Mr. McCann,
my knees it's like 2 shotgun barrels going off on both sides.
Yeah.
5 minutes for me to get all the pops out.
Yeah, Mr. McCann asked Brian, "Hey, babe, could you reach down and pick that?" No, I can't.
How crunchy are y'all's shoulders now?
Mine's not too bad.
Show us some pops though.
Yeah, they pop.
Not really. Still got some mileage left on those shoulders.
You got some mileage left on your shoulder. Can you still throw that thing a little bit? Or
not really, but
the other day,
shoulder.
The other day we had like a little fire, and I did get my permission slip in the backyard. My son wanted to make a little fire. I chopped like one little branch in half, and I couldn't move my arm for 2 days.
I mean,
that's bad.
You know what that's called? Reality.
We'll come back. We've got a brand new game. It's going to be a disaster for the three of us. I think Christian's going to get his jollies. We'll do it next. It's
Always.
3 and Out. Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Welcome back to 3 and Out all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network, live on ESPNCoastal.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube as well. You can find us live streaming there as well. You can see all of our smiling faces here on the show as we get ready for a wonderful new game.
To be determined.
To be determined
Yeah,
if it's
we've never
wonderful
played it
or not.
before. How do you know it was wonderful?
Okay, so I'm calling it wonderful on its face. Christian will explain the rules. It's time for the 5-second game here on 3 and Out.
Yeah, and we do have imaging for this, but it's going to be imaging inside of the game itself. You know, it's spring practice, spring training. This is the time where you let defensive backs play wide receiver to see if they're better there. You try to work out who your starting rotation is going to be. Do you bring in somebody else from the outside that you feel like you need to? So we're workshopping games. We played what did we play earlier in the week? We played NASCAR driver, PGA Tour player, or 19th century poet. Today we're playing the 5-second game. Now, to understand the rules, they're very simple, Kevin. But first,
I'm not the one that needs clarification.
No. Just Cody's got it ready. What I'll do is I'll ask you something like, name the 3 show hosts of 3 and Out. And as soon as I say the last thing, Cody's going to go.
I have to say Kevin, BJ, and Ben, and then the buzzers. And
you'd be in,
okay.
Right? So you have 5 seconds to name the 3 things. Sound good?
That sounds wonderful.
You do have challenge abilities. If they throw 3 answers in there, because there's going to be a wide variety of subjects, but also a wide variety of answers, right? If they throw 3 answers in there and you don't feel like one of them is wrong, you're allowed to challenge them, right?
Okay.
And also, we have a special twist at the end. But BJ, we'll start with you because you're typically our champion of these games. So we'll start with you. Sound good?
Yeah.
All right. BJ Bennett, name 3 returning starting quarterbacks in the SEC.
JT Daniels, Bo Nix, Connor Bazelak.
Oh, just got it in.
That was close.
5 seconds goes by quickly.
That's a good question. Cody's saying, does he have to finish the name? Because the cut of Bazelak was kind of the.
I think as long as you've started to get the answer out. Yes.
Yep. All right, that's fine. All right, Ben, are you ready?
Yes.
Name 3 Will Smith movies.
Oh my goodness! Training Day. Independence Day. Collateral.
Oh!
Dang! I was right there. Dang! Did I say Training Day?
Training Day.
And see, the problem with that is if you hit a oh my goodness in there, you just gave up like 2 seconds. I have the answer.
Yeah, I know. You could have said easily had Bad Boys 1, Bad Boys 2, just like Bang.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Kevin. You could have just said.
I only say that because I haven't gone yet, and this is going to be bad.
Kevin, it's going to be fine.
No, it won't be. All right, go ahead. I get brain freeze in these things.
Kevin.
Oh, God.
Why are you freaking
I'm already
out
anticipating
the buzzer. Why are you freaking out already?
Fine, go ahead.
All right, Kevin, name 3 Brave Cy Young Award winners.
Maddox, Glovin, and Smoltz.
See?
Yeah,
easy,
okay.
easy,
Well,
right?
You laid one in there for me. Okay.
Yeah, you're there. I care about you, Kev.
No, it's fine. That was the make me feel good question. The next one that comes around is going to be disaster.
Yeah. BJ, name 3 current SEC defensive coordinators.
Barry Odom, Dan Lanning, Todd Grantham.
Ben, this isn't looking good for you.
That's fine.
We need to get you on the board here. Ben, name 3 current Florida wide receivers.
Copeland. Henderson. Oh man, I'm current, man. I'm getting it. Man.
All right. Now here's the twist.
Great.
Here's the twist, and this is where I think it could get fun. Is you can jump in and ask somebody else a question. If you feel like you're falling behind and you want to get in with the subject that you think
why are you throwing this in before? They all had 2 questions.
No, Kevin, I'm coming to you. Are you okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Kevin, name 3 returning starting quarterbacks in the ACC.
Oh, God. Jeff Sims. Oh, God. Sam Howell dug on it.
Why did you go with Jeff Sims first there?
I don't know. He was the first one that popped in my brain. And then I was like, the next one that came in was Mckenzie Milton for some reason at Florida State. I'm like, he's a returning quarterback. DJ Oyunglele came in. I was like, again, technically, I guess.
He started games last year.
Tony, I'm not good under pressure. Hendon Hooker, all the nope, not returning.
No, he's not.
I know.
He's in Tennessee now, Kevin.
That's right.
BJ, do you want to jump in here or do you want to answer one?
I mean, I'll just answer one. You want me to ask Kevin a question?
I think that's hilarious.
I don't think you should.
All right, I'll just answer one.
Look at him. Look how nervous he is. You got him on his heels, BJ.
I hate this game.
You got him on his heels. You don't want to do it?
Go ahead.
All right. BJ, name the last 3 Heisman Trophy winners.
Devonta Smith, Joe Burrow, and dang. Wow. They got me.
Ben, name the last 3 Heisman Trophy winners.
Devonta Smith, Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray.
Look at him on.
Great job.
Well, I only had to really answer one. I heard the first 2.
I know. That's what I was kind of going for the joke there, hoping you'd miss it too. Like everybody forgot about Kyler. Everybody forgot about Kyler. All right, Kevin, name the last 3 number 1 overall draft picks.
In the NFL, Joe Burrow. Oh, God. Joe Burrow. Jeez.
Do we just look? I'm trying to get y'all. Let's just stay on Kevin. Everybody go.
I hate this game.
BJ, do you have a question for Kevin?
All right, fine. Is Cody Cody's gonna play the clock when I ask you?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Kevin, name 3 presidents before the Vietnam War.
Kennedy, Lincoln, Washington.
All right.
Be tough because I think the conflict is kind of stirring up. Are we gonna?
Yeah, the Kennedy one's kind of. I don't know.
Cody, shut up with
I
that.
think we're gonna say that's wrong because the French were technically in conflict in Vietnam.
No,
Ben, do you have a question for Kevin?
Yeah. Let me see. Kevin, name three returning ACC running backs.
I just don't think he can mentally.
I can't come up with the names fast.
All right, Christian, I got one for him.
I hate being put on the spot like that.
Go.
All right, Kevin, name 3 teams in the Sun Belt West.
Louisiana, Texas State, and Arkansas.
Oh! That's because you hit it with the
Arkansas State.
It's like he knows.
At least they're literally they are geographically laid out. I guess I should.
I'm still real mad about that movie one, man. I'm like, dang, training day? That's embarrassing.
I got one for Ben.
Uh-oh.
Ben, name 3 teams not named Alabama or Clemson that have made the college football playoff.
Mississippi State, Washington, LSU.
Just play the buzzer again. Just buzz it again.
Wait, what did he say?
Mississippi State.
Just play the buzzer again.
Did I say Mississippi State? Good Lord. I'm thinking they got that Dan Mullen the first.
All right, Christian.
I think Ben might actually be worse at this game than me, and that's
I am.
Christian, I got one for Cody.
Oh. Do it.
All right. I'm here, baby.
All right, Cody, name 3 teams in the Big Ten.
Oklahoma. Indiana. Oh, Big Ten. Oh, my bad. That'd give.
No, the buzzer
Ohio
is
State,
gone.
Michigan.
No, you didn't start the buzzer. No.
I got one for Cody.
No,
I want to ask Cody one.
You got one for Cody?
Yes.
All right, hold on.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ben.
Cody, name 3 colleges in the state of Florida not named Florida State, Miami, or I can't even do it.
I
got it. No, I got it. I got it now, Christian. You ready? I'm ready.
Yep.
Cody, you ready?
Are you sure?
Yeah. I think I got it.
Go ahead.
All right, Cody. Name 3 colleges in the state of Florida not named Florida, Florida State, and Miami.
UCF, Florida Tech, and University of South Florida. Florida Tech Panthers, baby.
Yes, good. I said Mississippi State to train today.
Did Florida Tech cancel their program?
Oh, you got to check it. Got to fact check it.
But yeah, Ben, you didn't say football.
He just said name a school.
You just said schools.
Chris, I'm trying to jump in.
Now, final twist. It's not fair for me to just sit here and ask these questions and then create these games without letting y'all embarrass me on here. So If all y'all just want to go around and embarrass me, that's fine.
All right. I got Christian.
Go ahead.
Christian, name 3 Sunbelt head coaches.
Chad Lunsford, Butch Jones, and Jamie Chadwell.
All right. Well done.
Christian is a little weird too, man.
What does that mean?
No, because you know a lot of stuff, Christian. I mean, you like a historian. I mean, you talking about the Vietnam War. I'm just saying.
I'm like Kevin too, though. Like I could pretty much go through and like name like if you just put out Sunbelt teams, you gave me time, I could go through and name them without Wikipedia. But 5 seconds, it makes it tough.
Yeah, 5 seconds.
You start panicking.
I
the
panic.
Adrenaline comes through. Anything for me, Kevin?
Oh, I do. Ready?
Yeah.
You ready with the buzzer? Name 3 prime numbers. Go.
1, 3, and 7.
Ah!
Good Lord, I wouldn't.
All right, I'm ready. I got one.
Oh, okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Hang on.
I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if
I
that.
got one.
We're so close.
Yeah.
Name 3 starting Sun Belt quarterbacks.
That's gonna be tough. I really haven't looked at the Sunbelt. Levi Lewis. There's a lot of turnover in the Sunbelt this year.
All right, you got Levi Lewis. I got one that correlates.
Paul, like, as soon as it,
This has been a disaster.
Yeah, this correlates to what we talked about with West Durham. Christian, name 3 ACC basketball players.
I think it's pretty well known that I don't watch college basketball. Like, you're not going to hear me do the thing like where March Madness comes around and we're doing like entire college basketball shows where I just like pretending to know about it. Like I don't watch college basketball. Yeah, we'll still be talking about SEC West football in the middle of March Madness. Sorry.
I mean, yeah. I ain't got
All in all, a win for the segment?
No, how are we feeling? I think this is pretty
I
hilarious.
mean, I like it. I do like it. I mean, I like the reactions. As soon as somebody says something, they go, "What are you?" And Kevin goes,
"Yeah, Ben hitting Mississippi State, who has never made it to Atlanta for an SEC championship."
Yeah, I was thinking about the college football. All I heard was college football playoff. I'm thinking college football playoff rankings when it first came out. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm hearing.
It would be understandable if you got somebody that's like traditionally close, and then you get just the number one, Mississippi State. Oh.
No, but it's amazing. It's amazing the categories you can go with. And Ben, I'm thinking about this because you were telling me about your sister. All right, Ben, name 3 breeds of small dogs. She got one.
Oh, Maltese, Yorkie.
Yeah, she got the Maltese, didn't she?
Yeah. Yesterday, Christian, you appreciate this. Yesterday, my sister has a Maltese, and his name is Bronco. Now, and she like new addition to the family, and hey, I mean, I like this game because I'm like, what in the world am I? I like the reaction. Kevin's looking at me like, "This dude, all you got to do is say Bad Boys 1, 2, and 3."
You know what's also amazing about this too is like you start like factoring like the sports facts about it. Like a quarterback has like an average of 2 to 3 seconds to get rid of the football, and like they're having to make decisions with 300-pound people in their face and deliver a ball 40 yards down the field, and they're doing it half the time. It's taking Kevin to think about ACC running backs.
Exactly.
Oh yeah. Like one time, I had a professor that was asking me, okay, y'all little football players, like, give me something that happened in one play. I said, okay, well, you got to get the play, you got to get the personnel, you got to get the down the distance, you got to make sure, you got to see what the defense what type of scheme they in. Are they hot? Am I hot? Then you got to make sure you anticipate the blitz. If the blitz is coming, if I'm hot, I got to get my head around. And then I got to make sure I get into the route. I said, and that's just before he goes check, because that he check out of that play. So yeah, that's a lot goes into it. Christian, I like these games though. I didn't win.
We might bring it back. I might have to host, so I don't have to do this.
No, Kevin, you're gonna do it because Kevin go.
Kevin, no, wait, I got one more.
All right, we
Cody, you got your finger on the trigger. Kevin, name 3 games we play on 3 and out.
This one, take 3. That's not a game though.
Kevin, name a game we play on 3 and out.
It's 3 and out. We'll be back. This is terrible. Again, great 5-second game segment last time out. 5 seconds, go.
So we approve?
I guess. Is that a rounding resolution?
Yes. Bad Boys 1, 2, and 3. I'm ready.
So Ben says he'll do it again. BJ is up for anything. And there you go. Name the most.
What?
I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm tired. BJ, you want to take this segment away? I totally lost my train of thought. I had a great lead in to this segment, and it just totally left me. It was awful. It's gone. No, BJ, I'm done this segment. I can't do it. I don't know.
So you think that's funny? Mississippi State, dive on. I'm just saying. I'm looking. I like how BJ was real calm till he got it wrong. Oh yeah, I just so. And then when you get it wrong, oh yeah, that's right. It's all good though. I mean, I started off 2021 pretty good with a win. I can't remember what game we was playing. It wasn't named that team. We ain't did that in a while.
Yeah, Kevin, you don't even remember the games we play.
I know it's bad. It's bad.
Kevin said name 3 of the games we play on 3. Like Kevin said, quote, this one.
But I mean, Christian, you just brought up a very salient point that I think is worth evaluating and questioning. Not only did the game mess up Kevin last segment, Kevin is the vocal facilitator. He's got the the calming presence on all of us, and now he can't function in this segment either. It's
done. It's got me messed up. Can't do it. Christian wanted to talk about. I can't even get head coaching candidates.
Well, Kevin, 247sports.com. They interviewed some
5
FBS
seconds.
coaches.
Go. Name 3 of the hottest head coaching candidates in college football right now.
Rhett Lashley, Todd Monken, and Kevin.
Yeah.
But no, 247 interviewed like roughly 24 coaches throughout the FBS. They asked him, like, hey, if you had to say somebody who's the hottest head coaching name this offseason, who would you say? And then they kind of tier the guys out from that. And BJ, I think there's some familiar names on there, and it's a good mix of guys who have been head coaches before and guys who are like the hot coordinators. But the one that kind of stuck out to me as like, I haven't really heard it too much, but I guess it makes sense, is Jeff Lebby at Ole Miss, right? Because you think Ole Miss, you think Lane Kiffin in the offense. You don't necessarily think about the guy who's running the offense as the offensive coordinator, but multiple people said Jeff Lebby.
Yeah, I think Jeff Lebby's done a remarkable job. When you think about being at Ole Miss, what Matt Corral did a year ago, and even going back to the year before that, when you look at some of the production that has been with him throughout. But to me, I think there are similarities, and I want to see if you agree, Christian, between what we've seen with Jeff Lebby at North Carolina and Phil Longo or Jeff Lebby at Ole Miss, and Phil Longo at North Carolina. I think they are young coaches, offensive minds, guys who know how to put quarterbacks in a position to be successful. I think both those guys are absolutely at the top of the list. I'll tell you another guy to keep an eye on. I really like Marcus Freeman. What he did with Cincinnati's defense, what he's done with the Bearcats, and certainly the Dogs can speak to this. Georgia fans, very, very impressive. He's now at Notre Dame as Notre Dame's defensive coordinator. If he has continued success, which I expect him to for a year or two in South Bend, don't be surprised at all if Marcus Freeman is a head coach pretty soon at a big-time school. I think there are some, offensive coordinators, it seems like, get the buzz, but there are some impressive defensive coordinators. Mike Elko has been a really good defensive coordinator at Texas A&M. I think in addition to Freeman, Barry Odom, even though he was fired at Missouri, what he's done, I think he's got a great chance to bounce back. So some nice names for sure.
I mean, a guy that's definitely gonna get some buzz. BJ, if the Eric King can come back and play well, is Rhett Lashley. When you look at some of these guys,
number one. He's the guy who received the most votes.
Yeah, well, the thing about it is, though, when you talk about a big name program like the U, it's been a while since that offense has had something to talk about. The De'Aaron King experiment did work. It's going to really, really come down to De'Aaron King's health. Obviously, Tony Elliott is going to be high on most people's list, but I was going through looking at some of these guys, and I'm just looking at some of these guys' salary. Tony Elliott makes $2 million. So you talk about upgrading your salary, but you got to take on the whole, team. Some of these guys are going to stay put. Phil.
Yeah, interesting that Brent Venables wasn't on the list.
I don't think, if I'm being honest, Chris, I don't think Venables wants to leave, because when you think about it, I understand guys want – not everybody wants to know how they stack up running a team. Venables knows I'm going to – he don't even have to – his agent don't even got to negotiate because every year Venables drive the price up. And when you look at some of these SEC coordinators, they make it over $1 million. Some of them right at $2 million. And then they're going to be, going, and depending on what school they go to. I mean, Phil Longo, UNC. I mean, BJ with Sam Howell, that offense. He got a chance to definitely get some looks. Bill O'Brien, say what you want to say about what he didn't do in Houston. He is brilliant when you talk about calling plays. I don't see him being in Alabama long. The problem is, and I say this all the time, I know that college isn't pros, but I don't know if Bill O'Brien is built to be a head coach, even if he can dominate one side of the football.
No, Ben, I'd argue that he is. I mean, he led Penn State out of like the worst scandal in the history of sports, really, I'd say, and led them back to success before taking over the Texans. Maybe not a great NFL GM, but as a coach, I mean, he was up 24-0 on Patrick Mahomes in the AFC Championship.
Yeah, I just think that too. When you're a head coach in college, that's a skill set. And not everybody can do it because you're taking on a lot of different things. And you look at what happens when you have big-time programs that quote, preach patience. And just because you can dominate, I know it's an offensive-driven, football is driven through offense, even if you got great defenses. Some of these guys, the list is flooded with offensive coordinators, a couple of defensive coordinators here and there. BJ, I do agree. Marcus Freeman is going to be high up on a lot of people's lists. I mean, what you talking about? When he was up for the Broyles Award, he was a Broyles Award finalist. Had Cincinnati 8 nationally. So yeah, a lot of these guys.
Let me ask you guys real quick. Do y'all think Todd Monken has shown enough at Georgia to be considered a top candidate at this point?
No.
How much interest he has in being a head coach again? Because he was at Southern Miss before.
Southern Miss.
I think he might be a guy like Ben was talking about with Brent Venables, where he's completely comfortable making $1.5–2 million a year and being the OC at a top program where you don't have to take the heat. And honestly, I believe he's making more now as the OC at Georgia than he was at Southern Miss.
And again, I think that is a model that works for some guys. They're like, hey, I can do my job that I love. I'm very good at. No headaches outside of did my side of the ball perform, and I'm getting paid more than some head coaches. I mean, I think that's why we've seen the rise of Clemson. Did Clemson, when Dabo took over, have the resources of Alabama and others? No, but Dabo came in and said, look, I know we won some, but instead of giving me a huge raise, give it to my coordinators. And I know if I keep them in place, then the whole thing kind of keeps the continuity going. And Clemson's almost since the time he's been there has had some of the highest paid coordinators in college football. And well, it kind of shows on the field where what happens.
And I would say this too. When you talk about making, because at the end of the day, yes, you want to be able to see how you stack up, but you want to be able to generate more money annually. Some of these guys could be vying to be at some of these big time SEC schools, not because of just the brand name, but how much money you make. I mean, once again, one name that wasn't on the list, and I hope it was Ty Grantham. But he makes a lot of money because of where he coaches. So I do think too, Kevin, Venables and those guys are setting the new standard. Venables and Tony Elliott, they set the new standard of how much coordinators are making head coach money. So sometimes that could be it. Like, man, I like coaching on one side of the football. I just want to see how. I mean, I'm at this school. Can I go to another school? Get more money, but obviously, not have to worry about the full blunt of the team.
We've got more to come here on 3 and Out all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. We are streaming live, ESPNCoastal.com. We got a lot to get to coming up final hour of the program. We'll look at some college football talk there as it relates to the draft. Matt Miller of DraftScout.com. A lot of thoughts on the quarterback spot and also what the Falcons doing there at 4th overall. We'll also get to what are some of the big questions around the top teams in college football. And with pitchers and catchers now working out, what will that Braves rotation look like and that bullpen look like at the end of the day? So we'll get to that coming up in the final hour as well.
I wasn't in the show meeting, but I'm really curious because we're going to talk about what Matt Miller said in his mock draft 1.0
Right.
a little bit. Did you get a out of Ben when he talked about who he picked it for? Was it like not bad? not to spoil it, not to spoil it, what we're going to talk about. But did you get a? Well, I mean, yeah, out of Ben.
Sort of. Yeah. I think you kind of did. We've got the final hour coming up around the corner. You can check us out, ESPNCoastal.com, live audio streaming. We're live video streaming as well on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Don't forget, if you miss any portion of the show, we archive the show daily there on YouTube. Also, ESPNCoastal.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify for a podcast version of the show each and every day. So be sure to check that out. We've got one more hour to go here on this Thursday. It's 3 and Out all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network, streaming live, ESPNCoastal.com. Hit us up on Twitter at Pigskin Radio. Welcome back, 3 and Out, all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Kevin, BJ, and Ben. Glad you were with us here on this Thursday. Plenty to get to here this hour as we talk some college football. Who are some of the biggest questions? What are some of the biggest questions for college football here in 2021? Also, we'll look at the draft. Matt Miller, DraftScout.com, had some interesting thoughts. Could we just shake the microphones a little bit more? Some interesting thoughts on quarterbacks and what the Falcons are doing there at 4. Go ahead.
I just wanted to be sure at the board out that we were
causing
good to go.
a commotion. So
listen, PJ just walked in, and so we had to indoctrinate him into the 5-second game. So I just want everybody to go around and hit PJ with one question. PJ, the rule is you have 5 seconds to answer it. All right.
Okay. I'm not in the right mindset at all for something like this.
Perfect.
That's exactly the mindset you should be in. Yes.
All right, PJ, name 3 Penn State players in the NFL.
Trace McSorley, Deshaun Hamilton, Allen Robinson.
Oh, didn't even have to go to Saquon.
Yeah,
wow.
He's had Saquon in his back pocket.
Yeah. PJ, you got one for him?
Yeah.
Do it.
All right, PJ, name 3 Heisman Trophy winners.
Lamar Jackson, Marcus Mariota, Charlie Ward.
Oh, he dropped a Charlie Ward on you for flavor.
Oh.
The Charlie Ward on you for flavor, BJ.
Wow.
He's way better.
He just danced on you.
Let's see.
Should have been Saquon Barkley. Just kidding.
PJ,
What's up?
name 3 Will Smith movies.
Oh my gosh. I Am Legend, I, Robot, Gemini Man.
He got that. He's like killing this exercise. We got yeah.
Thank you.
He's flexing on everybody because wasn't Gemini Man filmed in coastal Georgia?
Yep.
Yeah. Let's put.
I just
question out
watched
there
that though. I mean,
really
that's kind of
matters.
cheating.
And we'll test PJ's brain.
Do it.
PJ, name 3 cereals made by General Mills.
Oh, I like General. I don't.
Sorry, I mean.
Frosted
Cinnamon
Flakes.
Toast.
No, you didn't even get one.
No, I mean, I don't know which ones are made by which
I'm
company.
sorry.
I just eat them.
No,
I
I'm
just
sorry.
eat it up.
You know what we call
Kevin.
that? A wrong answer.
Kevin, name 3 cereals made by General Mills.
Cheerios, Rice Krispies, and Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
That's Kevin's wheelhouse right
Oh
there.
my
baby.
gosh, I almost had one, man. I like almost had one.
That's Kevin's wheelhouse's food.
Fruit Loops.
Well, I just listen. I can name you foods. I can't name like their corporation that makes them. Who
PJ,
cares?
Name 3.
Who cares?
Name 3 NFL teams Ben played for.
The Titans, the Buccaneers, and the Raiders.
The buzzer had sounded before.
All right, I got one.
No, there's one. I kept getting confused because for everyone not in here, there's a jersey that we have in our production room that someone gave him, but he didn't actually play for them.
No,
So
but
so I got confused with that, and I had to filter it.
You can
Dang
say
it.
the team.
Ben, I knew that. I just got confused for a second.
No, that's the whole purpose of the game. I mean, listen, we were talking about, Kevin was doing presidents and all kind of stuff. So we've been all over the place today.
I'm just letting you know, man. I'm just letting you know. It's not that I don't. It's actually that I know so much that I even know the 4th one. I know the jersey that's in the production room. You know what I mean? It's that I care so much that I missed that.
I like the fact that we're doing questions about Ben's career. So I got one, and you can just say the same team 3 times. Name the one team Ben lost to 3 times in college.
Oh, I think that'd be probably Florida State.
I lost Miami.
Florida State. Is that?
I lost Miami. I lost to Miami 3 times too. So how about that?
You're not making it better.
That's
Wait,
fine.
yeah, it sounds like
I'm gonna tell the truth.
and that's what I like about Ben. That's what I like about
No,
Ben.
I mean, because if I say something that is inaccurate, we got a lot of fact checkers over there, so they're gonna be like, "Hey, let's go ahead and make sure he didn't get knocked
That's
out."
the truth.
Game plan.
That's the truth. Cody literally has a laptop sitting in front of him next to the desktop that he's using also for a reason. So
He's here to check everybody's mistakes and mental errors.
well, he hangs out with me a lot.
That's right.
He,
Hey.
he probably
PJ, what is the company that decides if you are a professional?
Oh, come on. The Better Business Bureau, right? people are like getting a lot of insight on on how my mind works. This is how a normal conversation goes with me. By the way, you ask me something, and there's about 4 seconds of I think I hit it, and then the 5 seconds, all the answers comes out. That's kind of just how a conversation goes with me.
There you go.
All right, guys.
PJ, name 3 Ohio State cheating scandals. Go.
All of them. Every national championship they ever won. I mean, you got the golden pants or whatever.
No.
You got that Tressel guy, and that Braxton Miller touchdown that they didn't call a holding penalty on the offensive tackle at Penn State. I mean, come on, the guy got mauled. It's like 2014. I'm still not over it.
It's time to let it go.
Michael Motti got just oh my gosh, he got strangled.
PJ, what are your thoughts on Michael Motti? I think we all sit around and ponder those things from time to time.
Look, man, I'm still thinking about Paul Posluszny, man. That's Penn State with the Jag.
A Jaguar great that has never gotten the credit I don't think that he deserved. You go back, you look at that, you go look at that AFC Championship run. Man, he was a big part of that, even in his final years there with the Jags.
PJ got
it. We know your Jags gonna be all right, but I'm just saying. I mean, they got Carson Wentz in that in that division now.
You want to bring him up, BJ? I mean, he retired. Where have they been since then? You know, a whole lot of nowhere.
That's a fair question. Fair point.
Cause they got to tackle that beast that live in Nashville.
That's true. That's true. He saw that. What do they call it? He made a business decision. And he said, "No, I'm going to retire."
It's like Kevin and Salad not doing it.
I'm gonna let y'all get back to it.
Thank you, PJ. Indoctrinated to the 5-second game, and he did better than the rest of us. Maybe we should just not play next time and leave it all to PJ. But yeah, not to be confused with the 5-second rule. Correct, Cody. We'll change up what we're going. Well, we did it anyway, so we might as well skip it. Biggest questions for college football. How do we just transition? We'll just do that. Biggest questions for college football's top 5 teams. We got a couple minutes to do this, so I'll let you guys do it. We'll go Clemson, Bama, Oklahoma, Georgia, Ohio State, all projected to be in the top 5 in all likelihood when the preseason polls come out. Biggest questions for Clemson right now are what?
Not losing focus. I don't see any questions on the roster, not a single one. And maybe there's a question or two against Georgia, but I think if you lose that game and win out, you're still going to be in the playoff. So I think if you can maintain your edge week to week, I mean, folks may think that's a stupid answer, but I think you see it sometimes. I think you see an Oklahoma lose to a Kansas State, a Clemson lose to a NC State. You got to bring it week to week, and they maintain it each week.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Clemson, it's boredom. I mean, you're gonna beat. You're gonna be better than everybody you on the field with this year. You know that. Don't try to do that revenge thing because the last time we saw y'all, it wasn't your best effort. So for me, it's gonna be boredom because you already know that you're a better team than every team you step on the field with the exception of maybe week 1.
All right, Alabama. What questions do they have? Your biggest question for Alabama?
Yeah, I mean, I think potentially the passing game, and it's a relative question because Bryce Young is a 5-star, and he's probably going to do just what his predecessors did. But you go from Tua, Mac Jones, and obviously look at the receivers you've lost the last couple of years: Devonta Smith, Jalen Waddle, Henry Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy. I know you have John Mechie back, but you have Slade Bolden. You have some potential questions out wide in terms of the depth. So I'll say the passing game.
I would say injury at the quarterback position. You've heard so much about Bryce Young. He got the talent. He's going to step in and not miss a beat. Him getting hurt will derail everything Alabama wants to do. And then it's always every recruiting class has had an opportunity to either play for a national championship. So for me, Bryce Young's health.
Oklahoma, biggest question.
Can you play defense week to week? I mean, you look really good against Florida, as Dan Mullen was quick to tell us. That was a shorthanded Florida team. Didn't play Trask a ton, but when Trask was in there, was throwing picks. So can you be aggressive? Can you be opportunistic? You can't win a national championship if every game in the Big 12 you're playing is 58-56. You got to play some defense because you got to have that in the college football playoff.
Don't beat Texas and lose like Kansas State. Like you'll beat the team, but you need to beat and lose to a team that's not as good as you. And Spencer Rattler, is he ready to be that next superstar at Oklahoma?
What about Georgia? What is your one big question for the Dogs heading into 2021?
I think you could say the secondary, but the roster looks pretty good overall. I mean, look at the way the Dogs have recruited. I think the question is, are you ready for the moment? And we hear a lot about Georgia being in the same kind of tier group as Alabama, as Clemson, as Ohio State. Well, just being real, those programs have largely performed better in the spotlight under the bright lights than Georgia. Georgia has talent. Clemson has talent. Georgia has talent. Alabama has talent. Georgia has talent. Comparable to anybody. You've been right there, but close isn't getting it done. Can you be at your best when the pressure is on?
Is Coach Monken's offense one-dimensional? Because last year, all they did was not be able to run the football. JT Daniels came in and lit it up on the passing game. What is this offense going to look like? Is it going to be balanced? Is it going to be run-heavy? Is it going to be pass-heavy? So for me, if Georgia can go out there and establish a true identity on offense, I think that's going to be their biggest question mark.
All right, and finally, Ohio State, those Buckeyes, biggest question mark for them.
I think it's quarterback. Look, the talent, if you look at, and Cody knows this, they have mock drafts for 2022 already. And a lot of the defensive linemen, the offensive linemen, the defensive backs that Ohio State has, these guys are going to be first, second round picks. But quarterback position, you've been elite at quarterback for a long time. What are you going to have this year?
Can they still run the Big Ten? I mean, obviously, when you look at the Big Ten, it starts and finishes with Ohio State. I mean, but you look at some teams that got really, really close. Last year with Indiana, Penn State going to have a bounce back year. Michigan, we'll see what happens. They got guys in the transfer portal. So for me, can Ohio State still remain the beast they have been for the last 5 to 10 years in the Big Ten?
That's a quick look at some of the teams in the top 5. Our one big question about them. We'll come back. We'll take a look at the draft. Matt Miller, DraftScout.com's got some things to say about the quarterbacks and what the Falcons potentially do there at number 4. We'll break it down next. It's 3 and Out on the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Welcome back, 3 and Out here on the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Kevin, BJ, and Ben, glad you are with us. Of course, everyone ahead of the draft likes to say things that are a little out there, right? Just to go from the common, I guess, wisdom sometimes. But NFL scouting director told Matt Miller of the Draft Scout, this is a scouting director for an NFL team who scouts college players, told Matt Miller of DraftScout.com they had Zach Wilson #1 on their big board. He said, quote, "What he does as a thrower and as a runner is exactly where we are as a league right now. He throws some of those 50-50 balls with his shoulder squared to the defense after running around the pocket, and I'm seeing Patrick Mahomes at Texas Tech all over again." I'll take your silence as to say yes, exactly.
Well,
Can we start with the MVP comparisons for a guy coming out of college?
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't see prospects the way scouts and analysts see prospects. I mean, Ben was kind of walking me through it earlier today, talking about some of the things that you look for and some of the traits that maybe even if your stats aren't great in a game or if your efficiency totals aren't great for a stretch, you're not just looking at that. And I can certainly appreciate and acknowledge that is not my area of expertise. But I think when you start talking about ranking a quarterback over Trevor Lawrence, to me, a lot of that is potentially momentum based because sometimes the worst thing you can do in a job, in a potential evaluation for a job is be great right away, right? Trevor Lawrence is a true freshman, went 15-0, was nearly perfect, dominated Notre Dame and Alabama, put up 44 on Alabama in the national championship game, and was uncriticizable. Like every aspect of his game was almost perfect. So if you start out as a 10, and in terms of people evaluating and identifying you, all you can do is regress. All you can do is be worse. All you can do is show weaknesses because your traits have already been well established, highlighted, underlined, put in bold. Everybody knows what's great about you, and you can only talk about that for so long. Like, to me, some of that has happened with Lamar Jackson in the pros and at the college level. It's like after Lamar Jackson has 580 total yards in 9 straight games, well, then when he has 540 total yards, you go, what's wrong with this dude? He's not really that great. And I think we're seeing some of that with Trevor, Kevin, where it's you're so great right away and you're going to be the #1 pick. You're going to be the #1 pick. For 3 years, all we say is you're going to be the #1 pick. Well, at some point, you got to say something new.
I guess, but I mean, but what he said was it's like, hey, what he does as a thrower and as a runner is exactly where we are as a league right now. I'm sorry, did a thrower and a runner just win the Super Bowl?
Well, I mean, it's not just that. And
who did that guy play in the conference championship game?
Well, and Ben,
was he a runner and a thrower? No, he was a pocket thrower.
Y'all tell me if I'm wrong here, but when you think about mobility, and I agree, you have to meet an athletic threshold in today's football. You got to have some mobility at the quarterback position. Trevor Lawrence had a 100-yard rushing game in the college football playoff, and you guys know that I love what guys do, not just in a regular contest, not just on a casual Saturday afternoon, but what you do on the big stage. Trevor Lawrence is the only non-running back to have a 100-yard rushing game in a college football playoff contest, and that was against Ohio State 2 years ago. So what's not to like about Trevor Lawrence's mobility?
But the thing is too, and when Matt says an NFL college scouting director, well, who is that? It's 32 of those. Which one was it? You know why? You know why they told him do not put my name out there? Because that's dangerous. That's why comparisons are so dangerous. Look at what he said though. He reminds me of Patrick Mahomes because he knows people hear that and walk off. You got to hear the other part at Texas Tech. Because when Pat Mahomes first came in the league, who was saying anything about Patrick Mahomes? Nobody, right? But then when he started playing, oh man, this dude. All I'm saying is there are a lot of Zach Wilson's going to be #1 on the lot of boards. He's going to be a first-round pick. So he's going to have a #1 grade. But this is the thing, though, BJ, I be saying this all the time. Where you go is far greater than what you do. Because a lot of these, if Pat Mahomes goes to Chicago, he ain't in no Super Bowls. But him going to Kansas City with those guys around him, but something Kevin said makes sense. The greatest thing we ever seen since sliced bread just lost to the old man in the Super Bowl. Because the old man stood in the pocket and threw this way. The next great guy, he kept running backwards. So when you start comparing guys, and I heard Zach Wilson get compared to Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson don't even want to be in Seattle anymore. The reason why people go, he can improvise. You know what improvise means? That means that the guys in front of me aren't blocking. That's why I got to improvise. So I like Zach Wilson, BJ. Look, they're not going to get anybody number one over Trevor Lawrence. I don't see that happening at all. But once again, the world doesn't know Zach Wilson the way we do. So you got to keep talking about him. Sure. That when he gets drafted, oh, that's Zach Wilson. Because all I'm saying is that's how NFL scouting is. You have to say something crazy to get people to go, what did he do? What?
Well, I mean, I think some of that too is pre-draft conjecture where it's like, oh, there's somebody saying they got Zach Wilson number one on their board, meaning if Lawrence goes off the board, somebody wants him number two. So if you want him, you better move up and try to get him. I think some of that is some pre-draft conjecture there. But speaking of pre-draft, Matt Miller also put out his mock draft as 1.0 version. Ben has the Falcons at 4, taking Kyle Pitts. I know this is an early projection, but what is the actual likelihood of that happening?
If I don't think it's very high because this is a quarterback-driven draft. And now I will say this: if Kyle Pitts ain't gonna go much lower than 4, he ain't gonna go much lower than that because he's instant offense. And when you look at Matty Ice, when that offense was clicking, when he had Tony Gonzalez to go along with Roddy White, to go along with Julio, the number one target was Tony Gonzalez with those guys. I just think that while you're going to have more offense, I think that a quarterback is probably what they're going to get because this is a big quarterback-driven draft, and I know it's going to be quarterbacks every year. But I would say, obviously, I would love to see it, but I just think that Kyle Pitts going to a team that they're gonna want a quarterback now more than later. I don't see him going number 4.
Well, look, and I would just say if that happened, to me, it all comes down to what does Arthur Smith think and the Falcons organization think Matt Ryan's, I hate to say this term but what is Matt Ryan's usefulness to our club? Do we think he has 2 or 3 more years? If you do, maybe you go get a Kyle Pitts and say, let's try to get, as BJ said, get some guys that can catch the ball and make plays right now. Because I understand the other side, BJ, you've said, look, if you go get Justin Fields, it's not as much as people say in the ideal world, let him learn from Matt Ryan. He's not sitting for a year or two to wait to play. And that's not his call. That's just when you draft somebody 4th overall in the draft, they play, right? I mean, you drafted them to play. So to me, this just kind of gives you an insight into what the Falcons think Matt Ryan has left in the tank for them. If they go and get somebody other than a quarterback number 1, I think Matt Ryan still got several years of high competitive football left. If they go get Justin Fields, well, I mean, that tells you exactly what it tells you if they get quarterback number 4.
Yeah, and I mean, back to the Pitts situation, do I think that's realistically possible? Yes, I absolutely do, because I know we've had great tight ends in the league for a long time, but I don't know that they've ever been across the board featured as they are in offenses now, and featured in offenses that are part of great teams. I mean, think about the tight ends that have been in the last couple Super Bowls. Okay, this past Super Bowl was Travis Kelce and Rob Gronkowski. The Super Bowl before that was George Kittle and Travis Kelce. The Super Bowl before that was what? Zach Ertz, who I believe that season set a new single. Yeah, and Gronk. And I mean, that season set a new single season receptions record for tight ends. Travis Kelce just had over 150 yards in the Super Bowl. So not only are you seeing tight ends emerge as number 1 passing options, you're seeing tight ends emerge as number 1 passing options for Super Bowl contending teams. So do I think that value-wise in today's draft, you could see Pitts go in the top 5? Yeah, Ben, I absolutely do.
Well, I mean, back in 2004 when I got drafted, I mean, Kellen Winslow went 6. Vernon Davis went 6. I want to say Eric Ebron went 9. So it's not like this is just out of. And the thing about Kyle Pitts, obviously, I would love him to go to Atlanta. I mean, that would be great. But I'm telling you guys, nothing scared. What scares teams about not getting quarterbacks is what they'll do with another team when you had a chance to get them. It's not that I don't think they don't think Matty Ice got something left, Kevin. It's, oh man, every time Patrick Mahomes do something, what they say, oh man, you know Chicago could have got him. You know Chicago could have got Deshaun Watson. They got Mitchell Trubisky. Those type of things matter. Plus, I know that the 4th overall pick usually is supposed to play. I get that. But if I can get my quarterback in-house and I can get him on a rookie deal without having to go out and pay a veteran 30 or 40 million in free agency, I think you get him to learn under Matty Ice. Because, BJ, I'm telling you, having guys under rookie deals and I can develop them is what you want. You don't want to try to go out there and trade for somebody. I got to pay $25 million and $5 million roster bonus. If I can get Justin Fields, nothing motivates a player every year to play better when you got a guy that's just as good as you behind. Matty Ice going to ball. Because the fact that he know he can get benched, I guarantee you he plays better if they got Justin Fields behind him.
It will be interesting. I think if they don't go quarterback at this point, is what a lot of people are expecting, BJ. I don't know where they would go. To me, it's just a referendum on where they think, I say long-term, Matt Ryan's going to be in the next 2 to 3 years with the team. If they think he's there, then they're going to go somewhere else, right? I mean, I think they'll bank on another quarterback coming around later down the line they can get. If not, they're going to go get the question is, if Justin Fields goes too, do you still feel strongly about quarterback? That'll be another question.
If Justin Fields goes too, BJ, Zach Wilson will be an Atlanta Falcon. I'm telling you, if Justin, because the thing is, BJ, we were talking about this evaluation thing. They don't look at it as a team. Evaluating a quarterback going to the NFL is essentially how you evaluate recruits going to college. They're looking at what you do individually first. Then they look at how your individual talent affects the team collectively. That's what they're doing. And they're looking at Zach Wilson saying, can he make all the throws? He can. You only watch BYU for him. So he's, when they say Monday Night Football, they'll say, Matt Ryan in the Atlanta Falcons. So he's already a one-name recognizable player. Check. So I'm just telling you, while you don't see it as a whole, he's not going to have a Trevor Lawrence type resume or Justin Fields with the BYU, right? He's not going to have that. But as soon as they say, man, he reminds me of Russell Wilson, the way he improvised, oh, man, he can make 50-50 throws. When somebody say you make a 50-50 throw, every throw in the NFL is 50-50 because somebody's covering somebody. That's 50-50.
Can I ask a question about that too? Because not to go simple math on it here, but doesn't 50-50 throw mean that there's just as good of a chance that it doesn't work out, that it does work out?
Yeah, yes, but at the same time too,
should be
he's already making tight windows. Yeah, he's already making tight window. 50-50 throws are tight window throws. Like being open in college ain't the same as being open in the pros. But when they saying stuff like he can when he's outside the pocket, he can turn his shoulders. Like I can turn my shoulders. That means I can get more velocity on the ball. Everybody can't do that. I will say that. But you realize when it comes to a top prospect, everything they do is good. Oh man, Zach Wilson. But if he's in the 7th round, well, that's what happens in football. We expect Zach Wilson to be better than what he probably could be because of the way he got drafted. I'm telling y'all, a 7th round pick and a 1st round pick talent, it is not that big of a gap. It's really not. It's just we don't know who the top 32 picks is because everybody watched the first day, kind of get bored in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th day. And those are the guys who end up becoming better than the first day guys.
And then Tom Brady shows up and the rest is history.
Exactly.
We got more to come here on 3 and Out all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Good to have you along here on 3 and Out, all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Pitchers and catchers working out for the Braves today as they get back in going. We talked earlier about the Braves. Brian Snitker saying, Mike Soroka ahead of schedule. Try not to push it, but ahead of schedule. BJ and Ben, everybody healthy. What do you think this rotation looks like out there every day?
I think it looks good. I think it looks really good. Everybody healthy. And again, we'll see with Soroka. Just for my comfortability level, I would err on the side of caution. But I think you would say Soroka, Fried, Morton certainly is an elite top 3. Maybe Ian Anderson and then Drew Smiley. Perhaps you could flip-flop them. But if you're going to go 5-man rotation, Kevin, I think you're looking at Soroka, Fried, Morton, Anderson, Smiley.
Sounds pretty good to me. I think depending on how Brian Snitker tries to set it up, I think Drew Smiley and Anderson could be flip-flop to give you righty, lefty, righty, lefty, righty. They're in the starting rotation for whatever that's worth. I know if you're an analytics guy, teams like to do that. So who knows? I think early Bryce Wilson and Kyle Wright might be in the running for a 5th spot if Soroka is going to be late April, early March, early May. Late April will be less than a month missed. I think that'd be pretty optimistic given how bad that injury was. But the starting rotation, I don't know that there's that many jobs up for discussion here. The bullpen, to me, is where it gets a little more interesting now that Melanson's gone. Shane Green's still floating around out there, but going to look a little bit different, especially on the back end.
Kevin, once again, this Braves team getting known for certain things. I know you've been more confident this previous year with the bullpen. How confident are you now? Because obviously, and I don't know why I keep living in the past. The Braves had the most interesting baseball. Once you got to the 5th or the 6th, I'm like, hold on, it's going to get very, very crazy. How you feel about the bullpen now, even despite they have not signed Shane Green back yet?
Well, I think last year you had an embarrassment of riches, and it really paid off for you because BJ, we said before the 60 games even started, this is a Braves team that's set up for the postseason, right? Hey, the starter, give me 5 or 6. You've got 4 former closers you can go to in the bullpen to cover maybe 3 innings. Well, we know how the season went. You guys got hurt. You started having inexperienced guys give you 3, maybe 4 innings or just didn't pitch well early. And Tommy Malone, who just did not pitch well, and it really ate up the bullpen. Can't do that in a 162-game season. To me, is it AJ Minter? I said a long time ago I thought Minter could be the closer, and he's shown that he could do it at times. Is he the everyday guy? Is it Will Smith? I know. I think I saw Snitker say it could be a closer by committee or rotation at least early. We'll see. I think it's not as deep as it was a year ago, in my opinion. Now, that being said, your 6th and 7th and 8th inning guys might be a little better than it was potentially a year ago as well. So I think you got a little bit better in the middle. Probably not as good on the back end, at least from a depth standpoint. I will be interested to see, and you won't get a good read on it early in spring training as they kind of just put guys out there to work, but what the thinking is in regards to the back half of that especially the last couple of innings of that bullpen.
Yeah, I think all things kind of going Brian Snitker's way. I think the plan would be, in theory, in the 6th inning, have Carl Edwards Jr. He was one of the relief stars when the Cubs won the World Series a couple of years back. And then you go Chris Martin, who quietly was very good for the Braves last year, in the 7th inning. And then in some form or fashion, either Minter in the 8th and Smith in the 9th, or Smith in the 8th and Minter in the 9th. But I will say this about the back end of the bullpen. It doesn't feel like you're quite as good, and we'll see what happens with some possible free agents. But Will Smith, prior to last season, was about as good as it got for being a closer in Major League Baseball. And Kevin, if I'm thinking correctly, last year he had kind of a delayed start because he was dealing with some of the COVID stuff. And I don't know if he ever really settled into a rhythm or got comfortable. If he can return to his 2019 form, 2018 form, you're talking about one of the elite closers in baseball. And I think if you have that Will Smith, who's being paid a lot of money, then you look at a 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th of Edwards, Martin, Minter, Smith. That's pretty imposing on paper.
Yeah, I mean, I think they have the ability to do it. To me, you got to have quality. I hate this term, quality starts, because to me it puts the ceiling on starting pitcher. We're like, hey, it's a quality start. I gave you 6 innings. Well, that shouldn't be the standard. The standard should be go out there and go as long as you can and get guys out. But I think you need guys that can go out there and give you 6-7 innings every night from a starting standpoint and not wear out the bullpen. Because I mean, Brian Snitker is going to use them seemingly every single night. I just don't. We know the trajectory they were on last year wouldn't hold up in a 2021 circumstance. If what happens last year with the Braves pitching staff happens this year, it will not hold up.
I mean, Kevin, how much is that? Is that where baseball is going? As you mentioned, I mean, the teams we grew up watching, you got to make most of them come out. Like, you're coming out. Now are they looking, hey man, I gave you 5. I gave you 5 and I gave you 6. Is it because they trying to make sure they preserve these guys' arms, or is it just a different game of baseball tonight? But listen, my starter, I mean, if they can give me 5, I don't even start thinking about them going to the 6.
It's a combination of a number of things. I think it's pitch counts have come into it. Guys are less efficient pitching. I mean, we also grew up where, Greg Maddux is saying, look, I'm going to throw strikes. I'm going to throw it over the plate. You may have a waste pitch, but you see guys get up 0-2 looking overpowering, and they're like, the next 3 pitches are a foot off the plate because they want a guy to chase. It's like, go after a guy, believe in your stuff, and guys don't do that. So instead of getting a guy out in 3 pitches, it takes 6. Well, if you do that to every batter, you're out in the 5th inning because you hit that pitch count. But I think some of it is you just set limitations on guys. It's like, well, we don't really want to push it too far. We see it in the NBA. We call it what do they call it? Not rest days, but guys are maintenance breaks or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Where they just don't play because, well, it's a Thursday night and I've played 7 games in a row, and well, I just need to not play tonight. I mean, why do they do that? So you make your team worse. Yeah, load management. Thank you, Cody.
Yeah, load management, which is not.
I mean, but Ben, that would be like you in the NFL going, Ben, we have got a good mid-season game coming up here against the Green Bay Packers. Really need you to give us 3 quarters of great football, and then you can sit the rest of the game. You'd be looking at them like, excuse me? Like,
no. I was saying
halfway through the third quarter.
If you want a blowout, like if you're a blowout. I mean, the thing. I mean, obviously, each professional sport got different things. Load management happens in the NFL. It's called preseason. Like that's when you get, or like if you're a veteran, like I never made it to 10 years, but when you get to 10 years, you might not practice on Wednesday because that's the workload day. You are practicing Thursday and Friday, but it also messes with your psyche because the only people that don't get hit during the week are quarterbacks. But hey man, we're gonna do some thudding. I just think it messes with the psyche of a professional athlete when you know, well, look, you're only gonna be in there for 5, no matter what. So
we only need you to get us this far, so that's all we need you for. I don't like that.
Yeah, me neither, because the whole thing about it is the notion of I'd rather have to slow somebody down and speed them up. No. You got to speed guys up now. Like it's not how it used to be to where I want to go till I can. Like I'm a starter. I get to go out here for 6 innings, but what starts happening is they're not pitching well. They're looking at Snit like, what's up? You gonna save me? No, man. I mean, I look at pitchers like shooters. You shoot your way in the slump, shoot your way out of the slump. Put yourself in the slump, pitch yourself out of it. But like I said, that's why I play football, not baseball, because I would be like, dude, go out there and you're supposed to be in the big leagues. Act like it.
I mean, Kevin, there's one guy we haven't talked about that I think actually could play kind of a pivot role for you. He could long relief, maybe even spot start. I don't know if he's a mid-late inning guy, maybe, but what do you see as Tyler Matzek's role for this team? He kind of did everything a year ago.
Yeah, I think that was kind of a revelation last year. I'm kind of interested to see how they choose to use him because he was very effective, as you said, coming in 2020. I think he's a guy that certainly could be, I don't know if he's like a 2 or 3 inning a night guy because I hate, again, pigeonholing guys into that role like you did with a Tukey Toussaint means what? You're only pitching when we're losing 12-1. So you're not coming in any kind of meaningful situation. But yeah, I thought Matzek was a guy that, especially in the postseason, they weren't afraid to throw him out there and get some big outs. So I'm interested to see how he gets used. You really have again, some like I said, I think the middle portion of the bullpen is actually a little better than it was last year, and the back end is where I have the question. I mean, AJ Minter, I thought he could be the closer before, and he lost that role. Obviously, brought in some other guys. He might be in it again. Will Smith, could he do it? We haven't seen him in that role. He was doing it with the Giants. So I don't know if you feel like right now, if Will Smith walks out game 1 of the season in a 1-run ball game to close it down, are you going to be going, oh, it's over? Or are you going to say, let's see how this goes? I kind of think that's the way you feel about it right now, just until you get a little confidence, a little comfortability with some of these guys. Whereas Melanson was going to, I mean, again, I thought performed, I got a little grief on Twitter about saying it, but I thought Melanson did a heck of a job in that closer's role for Atlanta. We've got more to come here on 3 and Out all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. We are streaming live at ESPNCoastal.com. Good to have you along here on 3 and Out, all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Again, Braves back at it. We'll have spring training games coming up at the end of the month on the 27th. Their first go back at it down at spring training, and baseball is back. And of course, the countdown towards the draft will continue in the National Football League, and we'll come up with more and more ways to figure out how Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence aren't the top 2 quarterbacks on a lot of big boards.
It's amazing, Ben, the narrative and the hype machine. I texted Cody earlier today. We were texting. The draft's going to be awesome. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be fun. Great players, star power, kind of storylines already. And, I mean, you know who's got the number 1 pick. So
I mean, I was about to say, I mean, how much of this is I don't like Zach Wilson, or how much it is your Jaguars shouldn't mess it up with Trevor Lawrence. I mean, I'm just saying, you know somebody in the front office? I mean, somebody told me if they get Zach Wilson first pick, man, I am done.
let's just focus. Let's just focus on what we got to do. All right.
Y'all will be fine. I think they've already had their hiccup. Hopefully they've learned from it. We'll see.
Yeah, no, if you're Jacksonville, I mean, seriously, we're still contemplating the first pick. We don't know what we're going to do.
Yeah. I can't stand that. I remember back way in the early 2000s, the first pick came out before the draft. Like, you already knew who the first pick was. Now it's the Jacksonville Jaguars on the clock. They're just going to make us wait.
Yeah.
With the camera right on Trevor Lawrence. Oh, hello. Boy, you sitting right beside Urban Meyer. Boy, you already in Jacksonville. Stop that nonsense. Get on my nerves. And listen, guess what though? It don't matter.
Ben, it would be worth it just to see BJ's reaction alone for them to draft somebody else.
All right, this is what they do. Draft Trevor Lawrence, and then right after they draft Trevor Lawrence, we're going straight to Nashville. Derrick Henry want to say something. They can't tackle me, so it ain't gonna matter. So get him.
Hey, the Titans better be worried about the Colts too, man. Now, I mean, look at the Colts.
I'm just saying. I mean, we are. I mean, it's only one team in NFL history got 2,000-yard rushes.
I don't know if they're worried about Carson Wentz or not. I don't think they are.
They not.
We appreciate Jake Mastroianni, Tomahawk Take, for joining us here on 3 and Out. Again, if you missed any portion of the show, you can go to ESPNCoastal.com, Twitter. You can get Spotify, Apple Podcasts, podcasted version of the show, YouTube. We archive there as well. We'll see you tomorrow, a Friday edition of 3 and Out. We'll hear from Joe Tessitore going to join us on the show. We'll see you then.